Hey moms! Welcome to my channel Parenting with Nisha. Today, let's check out some principles of Montessori in Chapter 2 of our series Parenting the Montessori Way. Maria Montessori emphasized the importance of the environment. It needs to be appropriately organized to meet the child's ability and desire to explore the world around them from birth. Because of the enormous impact of a baby's environment, it's important to put some thought into designing a room for them that isn't just cute, but supports them developmentally. One of the first things you'll notice is that there is a prepared environment. The prepared environment is the Montessori way of intentionally setting up a child's space, so that the child can feel purposeful, capable, and connected. This is much more than just beautiful engaging activities and spaces that are set up for the child. Montessori nurseries are simple, orderly, and aesthetically pleasing. They are beautiful, but also calm, with plenty of open space and, ideally, natural light. A baby's play space can simply be a simple rug or mat on the floor. You will often find a mirror on the wall, as even young infants seem mesmerized by their own reflections. A mobile is generally hung above the baby's play area. Mobiles play a very significant role in the Montessori approach, as an educational tool for infants learning to develop their eye focus and concentration. Appropriate mobiles can be used from the very start. Hanging mobiles encourage babies to use their hands more frequently. Furthermore, mobile allow babies to focus for a longer period of time, which builds and enhances their concentration levels and skills. From this, the babies will become more familiar with sizes, shapes, weight, and texture as each object varies. Montessori nurseries also use a low shelf to store babies' toys. Activities are beautifully arranged and organized, usually with all of the pieces in one tray or basket laid out on an open shelf. That makes it very easy for the child to independently access this, as opposed to a giant toy box filled with all of their things that the child must constantly dig through and pull things out of just to find one item. Also, this way, the baby can see the toys and become intrigued. They will eventually learn to roll, scoot, or crawl over and select a toy from the shelf on their own. Dr. Montessori recognized that children have a natural stimulus to learn. Babies learn to grasp for an object, they learn to stand by trying again and again, and they master walking, all by themselves, within a supportive environment. The same applies to learning to talk, learning to read and write, learning mathematics, and learning about the world around them. The discoveries children make for themselves, particularly within a prepared environment, build wonder in the child and a love of learning. They do not need to be directed to explore the environment. This also extends to respect for the child's play. It's important to remember that play is a child's work. They are intrinsically curious learners, if we allow them to be. Just as an adult, when we are working, we would not wish to be interrupted during that time. So it is for a child. When they are playing, they are working as per Montessori environment. We try not to really interrupt the child with criticisms, or corrections, or unnecessary praise, whenever a child is in one of those moments of deep flow. Provide the child with lots of opportunities. Practice building up their focus and concentration for longer and longer periods of time, which will serve them well as they enter school and also in their lives as adults. When a child shows a particular interest in one area, for example, movement, language, listening, observing, it is known as a sensitive period. This describes a moment when the child is particularly adjusting to learning a certain skill or concept, and it happens with ease and without effort. We can watch our children to see what sensitive periods they are in, and provide appropriate activities to encourage those interests. When the baby responds with a coo or a babble, we know they are in a sensitive period for language, and we can focus on giving the child new and familiar vocabulary for them to practice. From birth until about the age of 6, children take in information effortlessly. Dr. Montessori referred to this as the absorbent mind. From birth to the age of 3, they do this completely unconsciously. As a sponge can absorb dirty water as easily as it can clean water, a child will pick up negative experiences as easily as positive experiences. They can even pick up our feelings and attitudes. We can therefore be mindful, as much as possible, to be positive role models for our young children, to provide beauty, and to offer kindness for them to absorb. From birth, infants are absorbing language. The way we communicate with our infants can have a real impact on their language development, as well as how they perceive themselves. There are a few things we as parents can do when it comes to communication. Even if it seems much too early for your baby to understand you, try telling them what you're doing, such as when you're going to change their diaper, and talk to them about each step. Or tell them you think they might be hungry, and you're going to see if they want some milk. You can ask, "Would you like to read this book about animals? Or the one about cars?" Pause to let your baby respond with a coo or babble. Then follow up with an answer, "I like to read about cars too." We don't know exactly when babies can understand what we're saying, but your baby will feel the respect you're showing them, even before they can understand the words. In the Montessori approach, we always ask permission before picking up a baby. We approach the baby from the front so that they can see us coming, rather than picking them up from behind. We might say, "You look tired, may I pick you up to bring you to your bed?" If you ask question, and wait for a response, you may be surprised at how soon your baby will respond in some way. Using rich language with your baby from birth is a great gift to your child. This is the time when they are listening closely, absorbing all of the language around them. So why not use the real words for things rather than simplified versions? In the first year of life, learning to move and control their body is one of a baby's most important jobs. They are naturally driven to gain these new skills, to bring hand to mouth, to lift their head, to roll over. All we really have to do is get out of their way. We can have a few rules for children to live by, to learn respect and responsibility for themselves, others, and the environment around them. Within these limits, children have freedom of choice, of movement, and of will. The Montessori approach does not use devices like swings and bouncy seats for babies. While baby gear is the default today, it is too restrictive for their developing mobility. From birth, the desire to move is purposeful, and is one of the sensitive learning periods. When a baby is learning to move, it's important to have a very safe space for them, that is 100% child-proofed so they can begin to explore, without being told no all of the time. Make the most of the floor time, with items like grasping toys, which develop baby's hand muscles, and textured balls that roll slowly, which encourage baby to start to scoot and crawl. This self-directed exploration means the baby is an active participant, not just a passive observer. This builds their confidence and ability to concentrate, planting the seeds for independent play, thus, better supporting a parent's need to be hands-free in the long run. We do not give our children license to do whatever they want. As parents, we can be clear about what is expected and follow through with loving limits when necessary. We will step in if they are hurting someone or themselves. And, while we are learning to see from their perspective, we are also showing them how to have mutual respect and care for others, including us, as their parents, and the environment. We give them freedom within limits. While we don't generally think of babies as independent, There are ways that you can support their developing independence as they grow. In a Montessori environment, there is a major axis on freedom and independence for the child. Now these freedoms are given to the child as they seek them. Children learn to become remarkably independent. We don't do this so that children will grow up as fast as possible. We do this because children love it. There's a very famous quote that says, "Help me to help myself," and this describes that as adults we are helping the child to learn how to help themselves. Even the very youngest of children can be given small freedoms at home within reason, and one of these is providing independent play time. Babies need lots of time with you, being held and snuggled and loved, but they also benefit from time to play on their own. For an infant, this might mean playing in their play area while you sit nearby, simply watching. Giving a baby time to take in the world without distraction gives them the sense that they can do things on their own. They'll let you know when they want to interact. As your baby grows, independent play might mean observing while they play with simple toys, fighting the urge to always play with them, or show the right way to use something. Montessori toys for babies are simple, made from natural materials, and non-electronic. They are open-ended and meant to spark babies' curiosity and help them explore their emerging skills. Children want to be able to do more, to contribute, to be a part of the family. We see satisfaction on their face when they pull on their own shoe, put something back where it belongs, or help a friend. We can see happiness on their faces when they can do something for themselves, like when they do not have to fight someone putting their t-shirt over their head for them, or plopping them into the bath without warning. Through independence, the child learns how to be responsible for caring for themselves, others, and the environment. They learn how to take care of their belongings and handle fragile things with care. They learn how to make amends when they have hurt someone. They learn how to look after the environment around them. Each child is on their own unique developmental timeline. While every baby is different and will grow at his or her own pace, during the first year your baby will change dramatically in 5 areas of development: physical, cognitive, emotional and social, language, and sensory and motor skills. Montessori respects not only each child's unique timeline, but also the fact that each child has different energy levels and is able to focus at different moments. All young children learn through meaningful hands-on experiences, through touching, doing, and moving. And children also learn through seeing and hearing. Montessori also supports natural gross motor development. We do not prop babies up in positions they can't yet reach on their own, such as sitting or standing. Letting them learn how to sit, stand and walk on their own gives them a great sense of confidence and pride in their achievements. In a Montessori home, there is always emphasis on mutual respect, showing respect for the child and their unique development, including how we speak to them. We speak to a child as we would speak to another adult. However, the adult always sets clear expectations and they set kind, but firm and loving limits, whenever necessary. This is often referred to as positive discipline or positive parenting. In the womb, babies have free access to their hands and feet. After birth, instead of swaddling baby down, covering their hands with mittens and feet with socks, we can skip those restrictive clothing items altogether. The outfits we choose, throughout all stages of their motor development, should be practical and properly fitting. Non-restrictive clothing minimizes frustration with their first movements and sets them up for success with respect to freedom of movement. If we place our baby down at a time, for example, when they are learning to crawl, but they are wearing a dress that gets caught in their knees, then we have added an obstacle for them. Too many obstacles can lower their self-motivation. So, we should always dress our babies in comfortable clothing, which does not come in way of their movement. That's all in this video. We'll meet you in my next video with more exciting content. If you liked today's video, then please be sure to give it a big thumbs up. If you are new to my channel, I want to remind you that this video is part of a much larger series called Parenting the Montessori Way, which is aimed at providing practical tips and advice for implementing Montessori philosophy at home with your children. If you're interested in learning more, then you might consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you so much for watching today, and I'll see you in my next video. Happy parenting!